Most people live in reaction mode. They wake up reacting. They scroll, reacting. They speak, reacting. They live, reacting. Someone says something, and their mood changes. Something goes wrong, and their energy collapses. The weather shifts, and so does their peace. They believe happiness is a response to circumstances, but there is a deeper truth. There is always a space, a silent, invisible space, between what happens outside of you and what happens inside of you. That space is where your power lives. If you can learn to live in that space, if you can stretch that gap just a little wider, you will discover something most people never experience. You are not controlled by events. You are not defined by reactions. You are not owned by outcomes. You are the observer. And the observer cannot be shaken. Today we are not talking about becoming cold. We are not talking about pretending. We are not talking about suppressing emotion. We are talking about cultivating a presence so grounded, so steady, so internally anchored that the noise of the world loses its authority over you. To act as if nothing bothers you is not performance. It is mastery. Part 1. The two worlds you live in. There are two circles in your life. The first circle is internal. Your thoughts, your intentions, your character, your effort, your discipline, your values, your integrity. This circle belongs to you completely. No one can enter it unless you invite them. The second circle is external. The weather, traffic, the economy, social media, other people's opinions, their moods, their misunderstandings, their projections. This circle does not belong to you. And yet most people spend their entire lives trying to control the second circle. They try to manage how others see them. They try to avoid criticism. They try to engineer outcomes. They try to predict every possibility. And they become exhausted because you cannot dominate what was never yours. Peace begins when you draw a clear boundary. You say, my effort is mine. My response is mine. My character is mine. But their reaction, not mine. Their misunderstanding, not mine. Their projection, not mine. The moment you stop managing the great outside, your energy returns to you. And with that energy comes calm. Part 2. Nothing is inherently a problem. A flat tire is not a bad day. It is a mechanical event. Rain is not inconvenience. It is water falling from the sky. A delayed opportunity is not failure. It is timing. Adjusting, we add the story, we add the adjectives. This is terrible. This always happens to me. This isn't fair. Why me? But without the story, the event is neutral. If you remove the narrative, you remove the emotional hook. The event remains, but the suffering dissolves. You are the narrator of your life. If the story you are telling creates chaos inside you, rewrite it, not with denial, with perspective. Instead of, this ruined everything, say, this is information. Instead of, they disrespected me, say, they revealed themselves. Instead of, this shouldn't have happened, say, it happened. Now I move. When you master the language inside your mind, you master your emotional world. Part 3. Emotional sovereignty. Acting as if nothing bothers you does not mean you become numb. It means you become deep. Imagine the ocean. On the surface, there are storms. Waves crash. Wind roars. Rain falls violently. But at the bottom, stillness, total stillness. You are not the surface. You are the depth. Emotions will rise. Anger will appear. Sadness will visit. Frustration will knock. Do not fight them. Observe them. Say internally, I see you. But do not hand them control of your steering wheel. You are the parent of your emotions. When a child screams, a wise parent does not scream back. They remain grounded. They remain centered. They respond, not react. When you become the calm authority within yourself, emotions lose their chaos. They become signals, and signals do not control you. They inform you. Part 4. Freedom from validation. Seeking approval is invisible imprisonment. When your worth depends on applause, you become a servant to opinions. Understand something powerful. People rarely see you clearly. They see themselves. When someone criticizes you, they are revealing their standards, their fears, their insecurities. When someone praises you, they are revealing what they value. Both are reflections of them, not definitions of you. If your self-worth is generated internally, you become immune to public opinion. The highs don't inflate you. The lows don't crush you. You become steady. Practice this. Do something meaningful and tell no one. Build in silence. Improve quietly. Win privately. Create a secret reservoir of excellence that belongs only to you. When your confidence is self-generated, you walk differently, calm, centered, unbothered. Part 5. The strength of silence. You do not have to attend every argument you are invited to. You do not have to explain yourself to everyone who misunderstands you. You do not have to defend your ego. Silence is not weakness. Silence is power under control. When you choose not to react, you disrupt chaos. When you choose not to engage, you protect your peace. Ask yourself, will this response improve the silence? If not, let it go. Listening becomes your advantage. In silence, you see more. In silence, you conserve energy. In silence, you remain composed. Your words carry weight when they are rare, and rare words are respected. Part 6. Pressure is neutral. Energy. Pressure is not the enemy. Pressure is intensity without direction. You can let it overwhelm you, or you can channel it. When something stressful happens, ask, in 5 years, will this matter? If the answer is no, give it 5 minutes. Then release it. Ground yourself physically. Feel your feet on the floor. Slow your breathing. Relax your jaw. Drop your shoulders. The body influences the mind. Calm the body, and the mind follows. When you respond slowly, you think clearly, and clarity removes panic. Part 7. Move in stillness. The loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest. True builders move quietly. They do not need constant validation. They do not broadcast every move. They do not explain every step. They execute. When you stop narrating your life to others, you gain mental bandwidth. When you move with intention, you eliminate unnecessary noise. Quiet excellence is magnetic. People are drawn to those who are comfortable in themselves, not desperate, not reactive, not easily shaken. Stillness attracts. Chaos repels. Choose stillness. Part 8. The Anti-Fragile Mind. Do not wish for fewer challenges. Wish for stronger composure. Every difficult person is training you. Every inconvenience is strengthening you. Every frustration is building patience. Life is a gym for your character. When someone tests you, thank them internally. They are helping you practice. The reed bends and survives. The rigid branch snaps. Be flexible in method, but firm in peace. Adapt without losing yourself. Part 9. Daily practice. You will forget. You will react. You will slip. That is human. The power is in the return. Every time you remember to pause, you strengthen the muscle. Every time you choose observation over reaction, you grow. Every time you protect your peace, you reinforce your sovereignty. This is not about perfection. It is about direction. And the direction is inward. The world can be loud, very loud, but your soul can be a sanctuary. You are not required to respond to every disturbance. You are not obligated to carry every opinion. You are not responsible for managing the emotional weather of others. You are responsible for your attention. Where your attention goes, your life follows. So place it carefully. Place it on growth. Place it on purpose. Place it on peace. Walk into your day with this understanding. You are steady. You are grounded. You are not easily shaken. Nothing has the authority to disturb your inner kingdom unless you give it permission. And you no longer give permission lightly. You are whole. You are centered. You are unbothered. Part 10. The discipline of delayed reaction. Most people don't have emotional problems. They have speed problems. They react too quickly. The message comes in, reply immediately. The criticism appears, defend instantly. The inconvenience happens. Frustration erupts. But power lives in delay. When something happens, try this. Pause. Not for dramatic effect, not to manipulate, but to reclaim ownership of your internal world. There is extraordinary strength in waiting. The world pushes for immediate reaction. You choose intentional response. That small gap, that breath before speaking, is the birthplace of maturity. And maturity is calm under pressure. You do not need to rush your emotions. You do not need to rush your decisions. You do not need to rush your defense. When you slow down, you see clearly. And when you see clearly, you move precisely. Part 11. The ego and the illusion of attack. Most things that bother you are not attacks. They are ego bruises. Your ego wants to be right. It wants recognition. It wants to be admired. It wants to be understood. When someone challenges you, your ego feels threatened. But your true self, it remains untouched. If someone misunderstands you, you are still you. If someone dislikes you, you are still you. If someone dismisses you, you are still you. The ego screams, defend yourself. Wisdom whispers, you don't need to. Not every misunderstanding requires correction. Not every false narrative requires explanation. Your peace is more valuable than your pride. When you stop protecting your ego, you become difficult to disturb. Part 12. The power of low emotional volume. Some people live with emotional volume at 100. Everything is extreme. Everything is dramatic. Everything is urgent. But high volume drains energy. Lower your internal volume, not by suppressing, but by softening. Imagine your emotions as sound. You can turn the dial down. Instead of rage, irritation. Instead of panic, concern. Instead of devastation, inconvenience. Language shapes intensity. When you describe something as catastrophic, your nervous system responds accordingly. When you describe something as manageable, your nervous system relaxes. This is not denial, it is regulation. And regulation builds resilience. Part 13. The night mind and unbothered living. At night, the mind becomes louder. Silence amplifies thought. Unfinished conversations replay. Embarrassing moments resurface. Future fears grow larger. But understand this. Thoughts are not commands. They are mental weather. Just because a thought appears does not mean it deserves attention. When you lie down at night and your mind races, do not fight it. Observe it. Say, there is thinking happening. Not, I am anxious. Separate yourself from the thought. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. And awareness is always calm. When you stop arguing with your mind, it slows naturally. This is how the unbothered mindset becomes practical. Not dramatic, practical. Part 14. Detachment. Without disconnection, Being unbothered does not mean being distant. It means being stable. You can care deeply without collapsing emotionally. You can love fully without losing yourself. You can work passionately without attaching your identity to outcomes. Attachment says, if this fails, I fail. Detachment says, I gave my best. The result will unfold. Attachment creates anxiety. Detachment creates freedom. And freedom creates confidence. When you stop tying your identity to every outcome, you become lighter. And light people move differently. Part 15. The identity shift. You cannot simply act unbothered. You must become the type of person who is not easily disturbed. That requires identity change. Instead of saying, I'm trying not to care, say, I am someone who protects my peace. Instead of, I'm working on not reacting, say, I respond thoughtfully. Identity drives behavior. When you define yourself as calm, you begin behaving calmly. When you define yourself as grounded, you begin grounding yourself naturally. Your mind works to match your identity. Choose a stronger identity. Part 16. When you do get bothered. Let's be honest. You will get bothered. Something will hit deeper than expected. Someone will cross a line. A loss will sting. A disappointment will shake you. Unbothered does not mean invincible. It means recoverable. The difference between reactive people and grounded people is not that one never falls. It's that one returns faster. When you get disturbed, pause. Breathe. Step back. Recenter. Return to your internal circle. Return to what you control. Return to your breath. Return to your values. Return to yourself. The faster you return, the stronger you become. Part 17. Attention is currency. Your attention is the most valuable resource you own. Every reaction spends it. Every argument drains it. Every unnecessary defense costs it. Ask yourself, is this worth my attention? Not, is this annoying? Not, is this unfair? But, is this worth my focus? Most things are not. Protect your attention like you would protect money. Invest it in growth. Invest it in learning. Invest it in discipline. Invest it in building. Withdraw it from drama. Withdraw it from chaos. Withdraw it from comparison. Attention directs your life. Choose deliberately. Part 18. The calm presence effect. When you consistently remain composed, something interesting happens. People notice. You become a stabilizing force. In chaotic rooms, you are steady. In emotional conversations, you are balanced. In stressful environments, you are focused. Calm is rare, and rare qualities are respected. You don't need to announce your strength. Your presence communicates it. Being unbothered makes you magnetic, not because you are detached, but because you are secure. Security is attractive. Stability is powerful. Composure commands respect. Part 19. The long-term perspective. Life is long, longer than most emotional reactions justify. In 5 years, most of today's stress will be irrelevant. The embarrassment will fade. The criticism will be forgotten. The inconvenience will dissolve into memory. But your character, that remains. So build that. Every moment of composure is an investment in future strength. Every controlled reaction is a brick in your foundation. You are constructing a self that cannot be shaken by minor storms. Think long, act steady, move wisely. Part 20. Quit fighting. You do not need to fight the world. You do not need to silence everyone. You do not need to prove yourself endlessly. You need to master your inner domain. When you wake up tomorrow, decide this. Nothing will own my emotions today. Not traffic, not opinions, not inconvenience, not misunderstanding. I will observe. I will breathe. I will respond. I will protect my peace, because my peace is not fragile. It is trained. It is practiced. It is chosen. The world may remain loud, but you remain steady, unshaken, grounded, whole, unbothered. Part 21, the discipline of inner guarding. Peace is not accidental. It is guarded. Just like a city has gates, your mind has gates. And not everything deserves entry. Not every opinion deserves residence. Not every comment deserves analysis. Not every headline deserves emotion. You must become selective. Guard your inputs. What you consume shapes your internal climate. If you constantly consume outrage, your mind becomes reactive. If you constantly consume comparison, your heart becomes restless. If you constantly consume negativity, your spirit becomes heavy. An unbothered life begins with intentional consumption. Ask yourself, what am I feeding my mind? Is it strength or is it agitation? You cannot expect internal calm while constantly ingesting chaos. Protect your gates. Be disciplined with what you allow inside. Peace requires boundaries. Part 22. The practice of emotional minimalism. Most people live emotionally cluttered lives. They carry old insults, old disappointments, old embarrassments, old arguments that ended years ago. They replay them, they polish them, they relive them, and every replay costs energy. Minimalism is not only for possessions, it is for emotions. Release what no longer serves you, not because it didn't matter, but because it no longer matters. You don't need to carry every memory forward. You don't need to relive every mistake. You don't need to hold on to every misunderstanding. Travel light. Light minds move freely. Heavy minds move slowly. Choose lightness. Choose release. Choose forward. Part 23. Responding without absorbing. You can respond to life without absorbing its negativity. This is a skill. When someone speaks harshly, you do not have to internalize it. When someone is stressed, you do not have to inherit their stress. When someone is chaotic, you do not have to mirror their chaos. You can witness without absorbing. Picture yourself as glass. Noise hits the surface, but it does not enter. Energy comes toward you, but it does not settle inside. Not everything directed at you belongs to you. Let it pass through. Respond calmly, but do not store it. Unstored negativity cannot poison you. Part 24. The Art of Strategic Indifference. There is a powerful phrase, "not my concern." This is not arrogance. It is clarity. If something does not affect your values, your responsibilities, or your growth, it may not require emotional investment. You do not have to form an opinion on everything. You do not have to engage in every controversy. You do not have to carry the emotional weight of the entire world. Strategic indifference is wisdom. You conserve energy for what truly matters. And what truly matters is few: your character, your discipline, your growth, your peace. Everything else is optional. Part 25. The nervous system. Reset peace is physical. When your body is tense, your mind follows. So train your body to relax, slow your breathing, lengthen your exhale, relax your shoulders, unclench your jaw, lower your voice. Calm behavior signals safety to your brain, and safety reduces reaction. When you feel triggered, do this. Pause. Inhale slowly for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 6. Repeat. Your nervous system cannot remain in panic when your breathing is controlled. This is how you remain unbothered in real time, not by pretending, but by regulating. Part 26. Becoming the observer of yourself. There is another level of mastery. You observe not only events, but your own reactions. You notice irritation rising. You notice ego activating. You notice defensiveness forming, and instead of being the reaction, you watch it. This creates distance. Distance creates control. Control creates calm. Say internally, interesting, I am feeling triggered. That sentence alone separates you from it. You are not the emotion. You are the awareness noticing it. And awareness is steady. When you practice this long enough, very little can hijack you. Part 27. The power of low expectations. Expectation often creates disturbance. When you expect people to act perfectly, you are constantly disappointed. When you expect life to be smooth, you are constantly frustrated. Lower the expectation of perfection. Raise the expectation of adaptability. People will misunderstand. Plans will shift. Traffic will exist. Technology will fail. Human beings will be human. When you expect imperfection, imperfection stops shocking you. And what doesn't shock you cannot shake you. Part 28. Quiet confidence. Confidence does not shout. It does not argue loudly. It does not prove constantly. Quiet confidence knows its value without demanding recognition. When you are secure internally, you do not rush to defend. You do not rush to impress. You do not rush to compare. You move with certainty. And certainty feels calm. Unbothered energy is simply quiet confidence in motion. You trust your process. You trust your growth. You trust your direction. And that trust stabilizes you. Part 29. The return to center. No matter how strong you become, life will test you. Something unexpected may happen. Someone may disappoint you. But your power lies in returning. Returning to breath. Returning to awareness. Returning to your internal circle. Returning to discipline. Returning to perspective. You do not stay lost in reaction. You return quickly, and each return makes the center stronger. Over time, your baseline becomes calm. Your default becomes steady. Your natural state becomes grounded. Final closing. Imagine waking up every day, knowing that your emotional world belongs entirely to you. Imagine walking into rooms without seeking approval. Imagine hearing criticism without internal collapse. Imagine facing inconvenience without irritation taking over. That is power, not loud power, not aggressive power, quiet power, stable power, sovereign power. To live unbothered is to live free, free from constant reaction, free from emotional volatility, free from the need to prove, free from unnecessary conflict. The world will continue to move. It will continue to speak. It will continue to test. But you remain centered. Your breath remains steady. Your thoughts remain deliberate. Your energy remains protected. Because you understand something now, nothing outside of you has automatic authority inside of you. Authority is granted, and you are selective. You are calm. You are disciplined. You are resilient. You are grounded. You are not easily disturbed. You are not easily provoked. You are not easily shaken. You are becoming someone who carries peace like armor and composure like a crown. Walk forward with that. Move through the noise with that. Live each day with that. Unbothered, undisturbed, unshaken, whole. Subscribe to keep building your toolkit for a calmer life. Until next time, stay unbothered and protect your peace.